Hi, I'm Eric Lubin, and I'm here today to talk about the iPhone and iPad application that I created back last summer called My Staples. And this application deals with schedule management and homework organization, as well as keeping track of the lunch schedule right in your pocket, so that you can always know exactly where you need to be and how long is left in the current period. Also, whenever you open whenever you take out your iPhone, you can see exactly what lunch you have. Maybe if there's a modified schedule, like a cap schedule, you can see exactly what the modified schedule is. So you can see, oh, today I have a special lunch period, or today I can sleep in late because I have a first period free that wasn't exactly the former schedule. Also, this application could notify you when you want to know, let's say, when there's 5 minutes left and you're free, or when lunch is about to end in 2 minutes, so that you're never late to a class. Or if you're always late to your first period class on Monday, then you could set up the application so that you could always be notified 5 minutes before this application begins, but 5 minutes before this period starts. That's the basic premise of the application. But also, I'd like to discuss the origins behind this application and how this idea really came about. And it was probably 2 years ago in the fall when I first started thinking about, I looked at the TV systems and the schedule on the bottom, and I really thought to myself, I have this nice iPod Touch at the time. I had it in my pocket. I have this nice device, and it's got a small screen, so why do I have to load the TV system and see a really zoomed out view with only the bottom bar that shows me how much time is left? And there's plain text, and there isn't really much to it, but yet you have this iPod Touch that's capable of so much more. So I started with a web application, which you could just go to on the internet at m.stapleshigh.net. And I really focused on just taking that bottom bar and expanding it so that you could see the current period. So as of now on the TV system, there's time in and time left. So I really expanded upon that to show time in, time left, percentage I added just for kicks. And then I also showed the schedule as the main part of the web app. But I didn't just stop there, because I figured, why stop at just seeing the schedule when you can customize it so that everyone can enter in their own personal schedule, so you can see exactly what period you have, exactly what class you have instead of what period you have. And then that worked out well. I created accounts so that everyone could log in and really keep track of their schedules, and then everything worked out. And then I decided one more thing I could add, which is really specific to Staples, is the lunch schedule customization, because I realized that a lot of people really didn't always know what lunch period they had, whether it was first, second, or third lunch, and it was seamless enough it's a logical rotation that I could somehow program away so that you could just type in your schedule, select what type of class it was, and then the program could do all the computations in the background and see exactly what lunch you have, and it would just be seamless. And that worked out well, and the web app called ISHS was running it still is running, but it was running until last summer, when during last year, I started to get a little frustrated with how the app performed, because I realized that it would take a few minutes to start up, and a lot of people would tell me that it's almost faster to just take out a hand schedule, or think about, they'd say like, oh, I already have the times memorized, why do I need to wait for this app to load? And by that time I already realized how much time is left in the period. And I actually realized that myself too, because I noticed that I'd take out my iPod, the Wi-Fi would have to connect, then I'd have to refresh the page. The page was kind of slow because it was a web app, so a lot of people were loading it. So it might take up to like 30 seconds before the actual page was loaded, and by that time I had already thought about the schedule, and I realized how much time was left, or what lunch I had. So then last summer I really thought to myself, how can I make this better? And the answer was kind of clear, because I had already thought about it. It had crossed the surface of my mind a couple times. I'd be like, oh, it would be cool to make an iPhone app. I just don't really think it'd be worth it. I feel like it would be a lot of work. I don't know if I could do it. And then last summer, I really got my act together and figured I'd dive right in and see what I could do. And the process of creating an iPhone app is actually a lot different than creating a web app because it's a whole different language. But I spent a lot of time over the summer in using the iPhone SDK in a programming language called Objective-C, and I had to learn the whole programming language from scratch, write lots of code, look at books, example code, everything, and within a couple hundred hours, which may seem like a lot, but it's spaced out across the summer, and it's really something I love to do. Within that amount of time, I really had something working that represented, in some form, a copy of the web app, just made faster to work on the iPhone as a native application. But in addition, I also added a lot of cool features that were only for the new iPhone app. And I refined the interface. I made it nicer, cleaner. And I really thought that this was a good transition away from the web app and towards the iPhone app, which is where the market was, because at that time there were a lot more iPhone apps coming into play, especially because the App Store had come out the year before. Some of the new features I added to the native iPhone app were homework, which I really thought about adding to the web app but never really got a chance to. And the homework was a lot easier to implement in the native iPhone app. Another feature I added were the push notifications that I was discussing earlier. I had actually already created an app just for the push notifications, so when I had created My Staples, I combined the push notifications into My Staples as just a sub-feature. I also added a way to something called Lunchbox, which let you see exactly what your lunches were for every day of the week, and you could see the lunch schedule during the course of every month, which I hadn't had on the web app, but it was easy to implement. And it really represented a good advancement from the web app into like the new modern world of native iPhone apps, and it really took advantage of that because I noticed right away I could open the app, and within like actually 1 second I could see exactly how much time was left, a modified schedule if it exists, and also what lunch I had for the day. And to compare that to when I had the web app, and it would take 30 to 40 seconds, maybe even wouldn't load at all sometimes, it really was exactly what I was looking for. And some people ask me why I didn't charge for this application, because it took a lot of work, and a lot of people said that if I just charged $1, I really would have made a lot of money, and a lot of people would still get it because it's really, really useful for them. But I always answer kind of the same way, because I realized that in some ways it's not, I didn't do it for the money. I did it kind of like a way to prove to myself that I could do it, and it made me feel good about it when it all came together. I also used it myself, so it's not like it didn't go for anything. And I also thought about the fact that everyone says I would make money, but at the same time, it's not really like I'd be striking a fortune. It would be just be a small amount of money, maybe a few $100s every year. But for me, it's almost worth it not to take that money just for the extra few people who wouldn't buy it to go out and get it for free, because I really feel like it's for the community, and everyone should be able to download it and take advantage of what it has to offer. I also have been asked the question why I even made it in the first place, because I could have just done this for myself. I could have made a simple application that already has my schedule pre-programmed in, and from there I could just open it up, it would tell me my schedule, and no one else would have to be involved with it. But for me, programming isn't just making something that works under one specific set of preconditions. It's about making something that's adaptable to a lot of different parameters, such as everyone else's different schedules, everyone else's homework, the lunch rotation. And without being adaptable to everyone else, it's not really anything special. It's just something that I did for myself. And when it came down to it, I started from the very beginning. I knew that I'd be doing it for everyone else, not just for me. So I was writing the code in such a way that it'd be adaptable, not just so that it would be an application that would just work for my schedule only. I've been thinking about, from here, going out and creating an iPhone application that takes the idea of helping out people in Staples and really works with any high school across the nation. So this way I could help not only the people in Staples High School, but across all the hundreds of thousands of high schools across the entire United States. And that would really go beyond just reaching out to the community and go just to the idea of reaching out to the entire nation and just helping them on a market that I really don't think has been explored too often. So thanks a lot for listening to me discuss my application and my ideas for the future. And you can go down and move your mouse just below to click to download my application, My Staples, from the iOS App Store. And if you want, check it out. I hope you like it. And submit feedback. There's feedback right in the app. And just thanks a lot for listening to me.